Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty show.
We just got breaking news in.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty show. We are back with our weekly minor league update. This will be covering the games that were played between June 16th and June 22nd last week. Lots of good stuff on the farm. We saw a few of the Giants' top prospects have really big weeks. Some strong pitching performances from some other guys that, one that you heard from in our brief interview this last week, and a couple guys in Sacramento. Some people that had kind of up and down outings. We're going to kind of talk about that. And yeah, we'll just dive right in. But before we do that, if you do enjoy our content especially with the minor league reports and the live shows, all that stuff, please do hit that like, hit the subscribe. This week, we're going to have a lot of great stuff coming to you guys. I mentioned yesterday's show on while talking about Casey Schmidt, we're going to have Roger Munter doing an interview with us, or baseball conversation, we might say. And we're going to talk a lot about the minor leagues in that video, especially with us being halfway into the season. He does a lot to cover them. We're going to get his opinions on some of those players and, maybe the system as a whole, and kind of just get his breakdown of it. So without any further ado, we're going to jump right into Sacramento, who went 3-3 versus Salt Lake City this past week. They're now 36-38 on the season. Number one prospect, Bryce Eldridge, had his best week in AAA. Went 8 for 19, a home run, 3 doubles, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Also made a pretty nice catch over the shoulder, running out into the shallow right field for a ball that was a very high level of difficulty play. And he made it look relatively easy, but of course then he, had a tough time on another play, like an inning later. That was probably easier than that play. So it was kind of interesting. But it did end on a poor note for him. Friday or Saturday night's game, he hit a double and he exited early. The trainer came out. The trainer signaled his right hamstring. So that's what we're going to just guess it is. He didn't get added to the injured list. He wasn't in the lineup Sunday. They have the day off on Monday. And, we'll see if he's in the lineup later today. Hopefully it's nothing major. That would just be really unfortunate if he were to miss, several weeks with a hamstring injury. But, they've definitely got to be careful on that. Number 2 prospect, Carson Whisenhunt, went 5 2/3 innings, 4 earned runs, 9 hits, a walk, 7 strikeouts through 99 pitches, 62 for strikes. When I mentioned a player, having a kind of an up and down, this is a perfect example. Carson Whisenhunt threw 5 shutout innings with 7 strikeouts to start that game, looked really good. And then in the 6th, it kind of unraveled for him. Third time through the order. It's a tough park to pitch in general, and just couldn't get through the inning. And, it is what it is. At the end of the day, the numbers didn't look great, but the start itself I felt was pretty solid. Normal circumstances, maybe they protect, if they're in a major league game and they're not trying to just let him ramp up his pitch count, maybe they protect him a little more, get him out of that game a little bit earlier than they did, but hard to know for sure. Number 6 prospect, Marco Luciano, went 3 for 21, a home run, a double, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. I saw something on X floating around where they're showing how he's demonstrating way more power than he has in the past. And it's true. I think he's on a 25 to 27 home run pace right now. But unfortunately, selling out for the power, it's coming with a lot of swing and miss. He's striking out over 30% of the time this season. He's not a good defensive player in the outfield. He's now blocked by Rafi Devers at DH. It's hard to envision a future really with the Giants. Hopefully he keeps playing well. Might, bump up his trade value slightly if he's having a good year. So far, it's not been great. I think ultimately he's going to end up in another organization, which is unfortunate for a guy that was, a universal kind of top 20 prospect in baseball. So it's unfortunate, but that's just the reality that we're in. He's out of options after this season. So unless he goes unclaimed, I don't see any way he makes the major league roster next season out the gate. And unless he goes unclaimed, he will likely be in another organization. Number 12 prospect, Grant McCray, 6 for 24, 2 home runs, a double, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Continues to swing the bat pretty well, showing off the power. Strikeouts are still a bit of an issue, kind of unchanged on, what's going on with McCray. He knows that he needs to get the ball and play more, and the rest of his game is really solid. Number 13 prospect, Mason Black, 6 innings, 3 earned runs, 3 hits, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, 95 pitches, 54 for strikes. Walks continue to be an issue. Not a bad start, though, for Salt Lake City, all things considered. 3 earned runs in that park. It's at elevation. That's a good sign. But, yeah, you can't be walking 5 guys in a start. Number 14 prospect, Trevor McDonald, 6 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 6 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, 92 pitches, 60 of them for strikes. Number 16 prospect, Trent Harris. He pitched in 2 games, went 2 innings, 1 earned run, 3 hits, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. Hopefully he just continues to settle in. You guys all know how high I am on Trent Harris. Number 17 prospect, Carson Ragsdale, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 3 hits, a walk, 5 strikeouts through 73 pitches, 55 for strikes. Definitely his best start, I in my opinion, in AAA this season. Got deep in the game, worked really efficient, only 1 walk. To me, it was just an all-around really good start for him in a very tough place to pitch. Best start of the week, though, for Sacramento definitely belongs to number 18 prospect, Carson Seymour. He went 6 innings, no earned runs, 2 hits, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts, 94 pitches, 60 of them for strikes. It's pretty crazy. About a month ago, if you would have said, eventually, and, knowing what we know now with Harrison and Hicks being gone, obviously, but if you would have said, like, if there's one player in the minors, who's the next man up, do you think? And about a month ago, I felt like it was Carson Wisenhunt and not even close. There's a legitimate case that when Landon Roop whenever he hits his innings limit, and it might not be for a little while, it might be a month, 2 months, who knows, but he's never thrown more than 107 innings in the minor leagues, and he's already at like 76 right now in end of June. So there might come a point where they're going to have to move him to the pen. And if they don't go out and trade for a starting pitcher, they're likely going to need to pull someone up. So whether that's going to be Wisenhunt, Carson Seymour, Mason Black, whoever it is, I actually think Carson Seymour is well positioning himself. He's already on the 40-man. So if they're looking at just, hey, let's fill in a 5th starter role through the end of the year, he might be the guy if Landon Roop does reach an innings cap where they have to move him out of the rotation. Number 20 prospect, Wade Meckler, 4 for 22, a triple, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. He's still great bat to ball skills, still work in progress defensively at second base. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on how he does there because he might be a potential bench piece if he can be solid defensively. Luis Matos, 9 for 23, 2 home runs, 3 doubles, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts, a stolen base. He's hitting over 300 and over 900 OPS right now in the PCL. This is kind of what he needs to be doing down there. The home runs, now I've mentioned it's at elevation, but they were not cheapies. Both of them were hit over 107 miles per hour. He absolutely torched them. The doubles, they were hit hard. One of the doubles was a nice hustle double where he kind of put it in the gap, and he really he has plus speed, doesn't necessarily always show it off, but he used it to get an extra bag on that one. Overall, like this is what he needs to do. I think it's unlikely, barring injury, that he's going to get an everyday shot this season. I've mentioned on the Casey video yesterday, though, that like what Casey Schmidt and Elliot Ramos have done the last 2 years are very interesting test cases for a guy like Luis Matos, who you just never know when a young player is going to turn the corner. And with everyday playing time, we might see things like his plate discipline and all that actually improve a little bit. Now, his walk rate's not going to jump out. I think he's walking around 8% in AAA right now, which is an improvement. And I don't see him chasing all the time. He does still have some chase. I mean, one of the doubles came on a pitch that was probably 5 or 6 inches off the plate, like a slider or a sweeper that went off the plate, and he reached out and just barreled it into the gap. But if he's at least cutting it back a substantial amount, kind of what we've seen with Casey do, and gets in the zone more frequently, he can definitely break out at the major league level. I definitely believe that he's got that ability, and he has some solid power. I just don't like when he sells out for the home runs. That's all. Moving over to Richmond, who, hey, everybody, get the confetti going. They had a winning week. They went 3-2 versus Altoona. One game got canceled altogether. They had a bunch of rain this past week. Games were getting postponed left and right. They were able to get 5 of the 6 games in ultimately at the end, but they went 3-2 versus Altoona. So throw a party, everyone. Richmond had a winning week. Maybe I don't have to call them the Rockies of the minors anymore, but they're now 21-46 on the season. It's been a rough go for them. But number 5 prospect, Joe Whitman, 3 2/3 innings, an earned run, 2 hits, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, 72 pitches, 43 first strikes. Obviously not efficient at all. It was good to see him not get blasted, though. That same kind of start for the last 3 weeks for him has resulted in 5 or 6 earned runs. So definitely a step forward. Number 10 prospect, Diego Velasquez, 5 for 18, 2 doubles, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Just continues to be rock solid in a tough Eastern League to hit in. Those were his first 2 extra base hits in almost a month. So good to see a little bit of the power kind of show back up. He doesn't have much, but he can flat out hit. Number 21 prospect, Sabine Ceballos, 1 for 12, 2 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Another really tough week for him. Number 26 prospect, Jack Choate, 2 innings pitched, an earned run, a hit, 2 walks, and a strikeout. It was a rain-shortened start, though. They were in the 3rd inning when the rain suspended play. That's why he only went 2 innings in that game. Jairo Pomares went 2 for 16, a double, and 7 strikeouts. Adrian Sagasti, 2 for 10 and a strikeout. And Averson Arteaga, 1 for 14 with a walk and 4 strikeouts. We're seeing why Richmond is not very good when some of their quote-unquote better prospects that are there are really struggling to perform. And O'Neal Perez, I hadn't really brought him up. I had personally soured on him a little bit. Last year really struggled in the Northwest League, and admittedly, he is young for the levels he was at. I think he was 21 in Eugene last year. He's 22 right now. Hit over 300 in Eugene and got the promotion up to AA. Now he's still catching at the moment. I'm personally of the belief that they need to move him off catcher. I especially watched him catch Joe Whitman a couple times last season, and admittedly, Joe Whitman, can be a little bit wild, but I swear O'Neal Perez spent more time walking to the backstop picking up balls than he did actually catching in that game. It was a rough watch, and you can tell how this guy had 28 pass balls in a season. Very big work in progress behind the dish, but if you're going to do it, the minor leagues is the place to have these issues and try and figure them out. But ultimately, I think they're going to need to find another position for him. Now, that said, he's hitting over 300 since his call up to AA. Short sample size, but we'll see what he can do. He's definitely got an intriguing bat, kind of limited power wise, but does kind of have an ability to just barrel up the ball and spray a lot of line drives. Moving over to Eugene, they went 2-3 versus Vancouver. They also had a game get postponed and then canceled. They're 33-35 on the season. Number 7 prospect, Bo Davidson, went 6 for 16, a double, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Overall solid week for him. The strikeouts have been creeping up a little bit, kind of something to monitor. Hopefully he gets those back under control, but all in all, he's been, really, really good this season. Number 19 prospect, Josh Bostic, 5 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 8 hits, a walk, 5 strikeouts, 89 pitches, 57 for strikes. Charlie Zacconi, he went 6 for 19 with a double, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and a stolen base. He's really turned his season around the last about 3 weeks or so. Quinn McDaniel went 3 for 14 with 2 walks and 8 strikeouts. Jonah Cox, now he's somebody that's actually really taken a nice step in the last couple of weeks. He went 7 for 21 with a home run. It was an inside the Parker, and you get to see him just absolutely fly around the bases. A double, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 2 stolen bases. I believe he only has like 8 walks combined or 8 strikeouts combined in his last 2 weeks. He's been much better. 9 walks combined in the last 2 weeks, and that's across like over 50 plate appearances. So really good to see. That's something I like his skill set as a potential 4th outfielder down the road, but he's got to put the ball in play more in order to do that. Scott Bandura, 5 for 22, a walk, 9 strikeouts, 2 stolen bases. And then Shane Rodemacher, he had a really rough outing where he went 3 2/3, 2 earned runs. Now he gave up 7 runs, only 2 were earned. 6 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts through 84 pitches, 53 for strikes. And then he backed it up. He pitched yesterday's game, went 5 innings, gave up no earned runs, 2 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Was rock solid and very efficient through 65 pitches, 38 of them for strikes. Moving over to San Jose, who went 4-2 versus Modesto. They're 44-25 on the season. They also clinched the first half championship in the California League. Now, what does that mean? I can't honestly tell you. I think it clinches a playoff spot for them at the end of the year. It's pretty weird how they do the whole first half, second half championships, but they clinched the first half championship. They've been the best team in the California League, and it's not hard to see why. I mean, it's the best collection of talent at any of the levels, in my opinion, and it's not particularly close. But number 8 prospect, Dakota Jordan, he went 9 for 22, a triple, a walk, 4 strikeouts, 2 stolen bases. I want to see a little bit more of the home run power out of him, but I do believe that will come. He's been a little bit limited as far as extra base hits go, which is really odd for a guy that has legitimate like 80 grade raw power along with insane speed. You'd think this guy would be driving balls to the fence regularly. And he hasn't. But it's not been a complete negative in that sense. He's actually been really, really good this season. Lots of line drives. He's hitting over 300, using the middle of the field well, using the opposite way well. It's just you see his skill set and you know what kind of player he can be. So that's kind of the goal, is eventually we see more of the power and speed and all the extra base hits that come with it. But right now he's been limiting the strikeouts. He's down in the 23% range with those, which is much better than I think most of us anticipated it would be this season in his first pro season. And he's stealing all the bags. He has like 22 steals on the year. So lots of positives. I don't want it to sound like I'm being down on the guy. I actually think he's been really, really good. That's just kind of the next step in his development. Number 25 prospect, Jacob Bresnahan. If for those of you that didn't hear, he joined the Dan and Ricky, did a quick little like 3-minute interview. So check that out. That video was a couple days ago. He went 5 innings pitched, no earned runs, 3 hits, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. He has given up only like 4 or 5 earned runs in his last 26 innings. He has been pretty dominant for about a month straight now. And he's doing it in a multitude of ways. His fastball is really good. His changeup and slider are good. His command has really tightened up over the last month. That's always going to be kind of the issue. I mean, he's about to turn 20 years old. This is a really young prospect still. And it's a young prospect that I do think is going to reach Eugene before the end of the year, the way he's throwing the ball. Jerome Maldonado, he went 3 innings pitched, an earned run, 2 hits, no walks, and 4 strikeouts. Explosive arm. They have limited him to pretty much 2 or 3 innings an outing. But really explosive arm, like triple-digit fastball, hard slider. Interesting to see if he'll really be able to stretch out as a starter. But if anything, he could end up being potentially a pretty nasty reliever down the road. Number 29 prospect, Carlos Gutierrez. He had probably his worst week of the season, and you'll see this just explains how ridiculous of a season he has had so far. He went 5 for 20 with a double, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, and a stolen base, and that is probably his worst week this season. I mean, when you can hit 250 and that's a bad week for you, that kind of explains how you've done against that level of competition. And he really ought to be in Eugene, in my opinion. Jacob Christian, 9 for 23, a home run, 2 doubles, a walk, 7 strikeouts. He also was a person that stopped by with Dan and Ricky for a quick interview. His video also had been posted. And one of the things he mentioned is he wants to get to 100 RBIs. You know, he's like, I'm not going to worry too much about the power. That'll come. But he said the one kind of number he has in mind is trying to get to 100 RBIs, and he tacked on I think 3 more this week. He's got 55 on the season, and they just are wrapping up they just are getting close to wrapping up the first half here. So he has a real shot. It's been pretty awesome to watch what he's done in the middle of that lineup this season. He's just been absolutely money in those situations and doing it just all sorts of ways, just doing the little things, getting guys in on sac flies, hitting for power. He's kind of doing it all down there. So really good year. He really ought to be in Eugene as well, in my opinion. But for now, he's been playing great in San Jose. Walker Martin had a nice week, 5 for 16, a home run, a triple, a double, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts, as well as a stolen base. With Martin, I've said it probably on every one of these minor league updates. It's the strikeouts. I just want to see that strikeout rate go down. He's made a big improvement from last season to this season, but it's still a bit too high. He's obviously very raw. He's going to be a guy that's going to take some time in the minors, so he has time to fix these things, but certainly you'd prefer seeing it in San Jose that, him being down in the mid to lower 20s. And right now it's floating, I think, just a hair under 30%. Xander Darby, 1 for 12, 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. Tough week for him, but overall having a great year in San Jose. Robert Hipwell went 4 for 15, 2 doubles, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. He mentioned he also did a quick interview a couple weekends ago, and we have that posted. He also, talked about how he's just trying to make sure he's getting the barrel, getting walks, getting on base, doing all the little things that he can to help the team win. And you've just seen, you felt his presence for the last probably month and a half. He went from, I think he was hitting about 160 for the first month plus of the season. And now his numbers are all the way up in the 230s, hitting 830 OPS. He's been really, really an impactful player down there. Maui Ahuna, 4 for 19, a walk, 4 strikeouts. Lisbel Diaz, 7 for 19 with a double and 5 strikeouts. He's a guy that really needs to, and I've always said I would rather get hitters than guys that are up there looking for walks, but he's a guy that he gets a little bit over aggressive, has really good contact skills, kind of similar issues to what we see with Luis Matos, where if they're not hitting for a high average, they're going to kind of struggle to have the kind of impact that you want from them because they're not going to draw a ton of walks. And he's a guy that realistically needs to get that walk rate up a little bit just to raise his floor a little bit. So that way his valleys aren't so low and so extended. But he did have a nice week going 7 for 19. It's just something I've noticed is, almost every week he's got 0 or 1 walk tops. Jeremiah Jenkins, 1 for 15 with a double and 3 strikeouts. Not striking out a ton down there, still trying to get, caught back up to speed. Obviously the hand injury took him. He was rehabbing for quite a while and then only played in Arizona for like 2 or 3 weeks before coming down to San Jose or coming back up to San Jose. So there's going to be a bit of an adjustment period. And then Nico Mazza, he went 4 and 2/3. 1 earned run, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 76 pitches, 44 for strikes. Hunter Dryden, he had his worst outing of the year. And this is kind of crazy to me. He went 3 1/3, 6 earned runs, 8 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 81 pitches, 52 for strikes. He gave up 6 earned runs in 3 1/3 innings, and his ERA only went up to 2.19. That's how good of a year he's having so far. So he was probably due for a clunker like this. It happens. We'll just see how he responds next week. And then Greg Ferrone, 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 4 hits, a walk, and 11 strikeouts. Really dominated Modesto in those 5 innings. Gave up a home run to, I think, the second hitter of the game. And then after that was fairly dominant the rest of the way. Moving over to the Complex League, number 9 prospect, Johnny Level. He went 6 for 17 with 3 home runs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, and 2 stolen bases. Recently, in a Baseball America article that came out yesterday, they talked about Johnny Level as they were doing this article. I think it was on the 20 hottest prospects in baseball, and Johnny Level was listed on that top 20 list. And they flat out said he's the best player in the complex league right now and has just this incredible collection of tools. I really look forward to seeing him in San Jose. I'm very hopeful that we get to see him this season in San Jose because he just you see these little glimpses of the swing. Now, obviously, you can't get good views of the ball off the where it goes and all those things, but you can see the swings very balanced, and you can see the ball kind of explode off his bat in those little clips they post in the complex league. So really hoping to see him in San Jose this season, hopefully in the next month or so. Number 15 prospect, our Heinous Kayama, 4 innings, 2 earned runs, 4 hits, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Continues to be really solid down there. Number 22 prospect, Rainer Arias, 6 for 19, 2 doubles, 9 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Number 23 prospect, Oliver Tejada, 1 for 17 with a walk and 4 strikeouts. He's really struggling in the complex league. So is Rainer Arias. We've seen his prospect ranking drop all the way from, I think, number 11 to or it might have been number 9 or 11. And he's dropped all the way down to number 22. But with a good week, he's back up to hitting 248. Strikeouts are a bit concerning. It's not something that we really heard about with him being an issue, but there's a potential that he's still. I have concerns there that he might be dealing with something with that wrist that he, injured 2 years in a row. So hopefully not, but just something to monitor. Luis De La Torre, 4 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 7 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts. He's a number 28 prospect. Number 30 prospect, Keener Martinez, 4 1/3, 2 earned runs, 3 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Giants have a lot of these guys that came from the DSL last year that are now playing in the complex league. There's a nice, solid collection of talent there right now. Going over to the Dominican Summer League, number 4 prospect, Joshua Gonzalez, 6 for 18, a double, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 4 stolen bases. I know everybody wants to see the power. I mean, of course I do too, but it's really nice to see the hit tools translating so far. From what I've heard, the defense is translating so far, and the speed is absolutely translating so far. He's already got 12 stolen bases. You can kind of just envision why this guy got compared to Jose Reyes as one of his comps. Gene Macaris, he went 3 for 10, a triple, a walk, and a stolen base. Nice to see him have a good week. He's really struggled the first couple weeks there. And then Julian Barreto, 3 for 15, a double, a walk, 2 strikeouts, and a stolen base. So that's it for the minor league update this week. Like I said, keep an eye out. I'm going to be on NorCal Sportsnet tomorrow night in the post-game show. So that'll probably be 9:30 that we go live with Dan over there. Other than that, we'll have our live show on Thursday. One of these days, I'm going to drop the interview with Roger Munter. Maybe it'll be over the weekend. We'll kind of see what we decide to do there. But I'll announce when that's. I'll let you guys know on X for that one. And then there's potential that there might be one more live show. I might be collabing with another channel this week. We're still working out dates and things like that. So I'll keep you guys posted on that, but definitely keep an eye out. There's going to be a lot of content coming out this week. So appreciate you guys. Love you all. Go Giants, and we will catch you next time.